can I do as a man for another guy constantly trying to make me seem bad and weak? Here's what I do with that. Because, everybody gets tested. That's usually insecurity on the guy's part. If you don't have to be around that person, then don't be around them. You cut those kind of people off immediately. If it's somebody you work with, you have to be around. Like if it's a social group, just remove yourself. Remove that person immediately. But, this is something, a challenge that comes across all men's plates at some point. Obviously, it would be nice to be able to just bust his ass, but I don't condone violence. Violence is a measure of last resort when you're trying to preserve life. Too many people, want to get their egos bruised and swell up and think they want to put hands on somebody. That's dangerous. That's careless. That's immature. What I do is just basically, it's up to you to keep your emotions in check and keep centered. You know what this guy's trying to do. I usually just ignore him, laugh him off, or confront them because that's pretty passive aggressive behavior. If they say something, I was like, was that meant to be an insult? Or can you say that again? You just kind of interrupt, because what they want to see is a reaction out of you. There's a lot of insecure, feminine ass men out there that want to see you react. The last thing you want to do is give them what they want. This is why I really don't pay attention to them. I just nod my head and, carry on as if they don't even exist. But it's just a little dick swinging game. Usually comes from insecure men who are threatened by you in some kind of way or are testing you. My dad beat and starved us. My mom left when she threatened to shoot all of us. That was way early in elementary school. I've watched my older brothers turn into my dad in different ways. Well, get good at that that's a lot to unpack, brother. And I don't know if you have a relationship with God. It's never too late, and it's very simple to ask God for guidance immediately. You could do that while we're waiting right here if you don't already. And if you need to, we'll pray together. I'll pray for you right here on this live stream. Power of prayer, brother, especially in numbers. So that gives me a good insight into your model of parenting, your model and idea of love from the outside looking in, watching your brothers turn into your dad. And obviously, you have a different awareness of everything going on. Then you have this child, or going to be a father, or you already have the soon-to-be father. 3 older brothers and a younger sister. Okay. New or soon-to-be fathers. Now, let me ask you this, Get Good. Are you expecting a child right now? Are you expecting a child? Yes, the middle of next year. Okay, great. So you are an expectant father, and this is a genuine concern. And first, let me say I'm honored that you came to me with that. That means a lot to me. I do this to help men in a lot of situations. And I believe that this is a calling of mine. This is a true passion of mine, is helping and reaching out to men. I'm just going to give you a quick synopsis of my life looked like growing up young, parents divorced young, crazy, also raised by a mom. Dad wasn't around much, also raised by a single mom with an older sister and a younger brother. And I know when it was time for me to be a dad at 25, and let me tell you something, growing up was crazy. I was an out of control, misunderstood basket case of a kid who had a warped idea of what love meant, what relationships were, my role in a relationship, my role in society. Being raised by a woman, women are not designed and built to raise men. And, there's things that operate in this world that are different for men and women, the way things are. And we can't handle things the same. Things just not, men and women are not the same. So I got married at 23, still not understanding what my role was. I was a little dependent on, my wife was older than me. And I really didn't know, I didn't have a really strong male figure and role model in my life to base a man's role in his family, to his wife, to his children, and to society. So everything I've learned over the years has been through experience, through just tenacious work and knowledge seeking, because I've always felt something was off. And this is what I love about your question, Get Gooder, is there's a possibility that you may screw your kid up if you don't get this stuff looked at, being what you grew up in. And you're afraid that you're not going to do a good job. And that's okay, dude. That's a reasonable fear. I would be worried if you were like, I got this, super confident as a first-time father. That's a rational fear. But what you're going to be surprised is how much of an instinctual father you already are. You're going to see. Remember this statement when you go to bring that baby home from the hospital. And the minute you see this baby, boy or girl, you're going to really understand love. And then you're going to feel a sudden sense of purpose in this world, in this life. And that is to completely protect and provide for this child. It's going to give life a whole new meaning, and the definition of love a whole new meaning. And you really understand what I'm saying when you get there. I know you're feeling a little bit now, and to get a head start, you need to address some of the things you were exposed to as a child. Nobody goes through what you went through without some trauma. You may not even understand it because it was your normal for so long that you don't think it affects you. What's going to happen is there's this huge misconception that people think an awareness of some dysfunction or some toxicity or some like awareness of low self-esteem is going to raise it. That's not how it works. I don't know if you ever heard the saying, come time for like violence, let's say, you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to the level of your training. In the context of fatherhood and being a husband and leading a family, don't think you're going to magically rise to the occasion. You're going to default to the level of your limited subconscious self-talk and beliefs. And having an awareness of it is great, obviously. And it takes a lot of courage to face that and even come out and say what you're saying and ask this question. And I want to commend you on that. That's a very brave thing.